I dropped my big drill with a circle cutter in it onto the tabletop of my new router table and I nicked it. And that also bent over one of the inserts of the circle cutter. But that's actually not too bad because I'll be able to use those to make something else.
So I marked where I wanted to cut those, and I used my calipers and a scratch awl to mark this fairly accurately. A couple of months ago I used teeth off of a saw blade for the prototype of this cutter, which worked just as well, but now I happen to have those inserts of the circle cutter, so I might as well use those. And I had to grind off the surface finish in order to be able to weld these pieces. And then I cut off a piece of 8mm steel shaft. And then it was just a matter of welding these pieces together. I used a hose clamp as a spacer so that the upper carbide insert would not get pressed against the vise jaw. And I very carefully welded the pieces together. I had to be really careful to make sure not to melt the solder that attaches the carbide tips to the base metal. But it all worked out well, and technically this bit would already be usable. However, it would create a pointy channel with an alternating tooth pattern at the points, which I don't want. Also, I wanted to reduce the diameter to 22mm in order to use T-bolts with 20mm wide heads. I thought a bit about what would be the best way of shaping that bit, and that was my solution. Basically a diamond disc in the drill press that I can lower down onto the router bit that is chucked up in this little motor. That diamond disc really doesn't mess around. The carbide doesn't stand a chance. And now it should be symmetrical and of the right diameter. But of course it now lacks a cutting edge, which I'm gonna establish next. And in order to do that I used the same setup again, but now with the diamond disc chucked up in the motor and the drill press just as a guide. And here it is in its final shape. Of course it has a negative tooth angle, which is normally not used for router bits, as it's gonna try to push the cutter away from the work, but in case of a T-slot cutter where the bit is always engaged symmetrically from both sides, that doesn't really matter. And just a quick touch up on the diamond plate. And I could finally make my first test cuts. The lower one was my first test cut, and you can clearly see that the two cutting edges were of slightly different lengths. That's the reason for that little step right there. But that was quickly fixed back at the diamond wheel. The second test cut did not have that step anymore, but the sides were really burned up. And in order to get rid of that, I relieved the cutting edges, which means I made them taper towards their back. And I did that freehand on the diamond plate. In this photo you can clearly tell how the carbide is now tapered towards the back, which keeps it from rubbing against the wood and cause burning. And the third test cut then did not show any signs of burning. Maybe a slight darkening, but nothing that would really matter. So, now it's time to cut the T-slots into my new router table. First I used a 10mm straight bit to establish the initial channel in 2 passes. And I hit a screw. Luckily it was just a non-hardened pocket hole screw, so the router bit did survive. And now switching to the homemade T-slot cutter. Okay, now this is neat. Let's cut the other side. And now my homemade T-bolts fit perfectly. They have a lot of bearing surface, which keeps them from digging into the track even under high tension. I drilled a hole at the end of each T-track so that sawdust will just drop out and not accumulate at the end of the track.
I think I'll play around with this a little more and make some more router bits, probably of different sizes, because this is just cool.